right, what's up? Good morning, everybody. Super Bowl Sunday. We made it. Last game of the NFL season. Now we have to wait about 7 months until there's more football. Andrew, how we doing?
Good, man. Excited. I just wish the Super Bowl started in 2 hours instead of 7 hours from now.
I know. I don't feel that way as much today, but I remember last year when the Eagles were in it. Oh my God. I felt like it felt like it was Christmas Eve where you're just doing anything you can to pass the time, where you're like, okay, how can I get it to just whatever this time? And I remember I took my dogs on 2 long walks. I ran a bunch of errands. I was just so antsy in my house. Now I'm like, who cares? I mean, I don't want to see either of these teams win.
You're not one of the Swifties cheering for Kelsey.
No, I mean, I will root for the Chiefs because I hate the 49ers and I still do like Andy Reid, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, what we're going to do for this one, I tweeted it out, but I have a spreadsheet that I'm going to update every bet that we lock in. Cause I figure we're going to have some some actual plays that we're putting a unit on. We're going to put some plays that we're just more so putting like $5 and stuff. So I figured it would be easiest to just put it all in a spreadsheet. So I actually will link that in the comments. I tweeted it out as well. And that way we can just kind of track where everything is going. So you should be able to open that up. You shouldn't be able to edit it. So hopefully nobody's able to mess with anything, but you should be able to view it. And yeah, we'll just get started. So we'll talk about main lines. I figured the format actually, we'll talk about main lines. We'll talk about non-long shot player props that we have, or not even non-long shot props that we have like a unit or half unit on. Gotcha. And then after that, we'll get into just like the degeneracy where we have, plus 9,000 odds, stuff like that. And we can just hit it back and forth. So I'll go one, you go one. So that way one of us isn't just rattling off 10 at a time. So anyways, main lines, I don't have the graphic up here because, I mean, everybody knows it's Chiefs 49ers. The spread kind of settled mostly at 49ers +2, although it looks like there are some 1.5s out there now. It's kind of interesting. Like the odds opened up with the 49ers as the favorite, and then quickly money came in on the Chiefs. And now it's kind of settled between 1.5 and 2. Or if you really want a 2.5, there is one out there at Sport Trade. But in the total's mostly just been at 47.5. So main lines, spread, total, whatever, money line. What do you like in this one? Like, who do you just want to like to win straight up, and then for the total?
Yeah, I'd say for me, I just went with the Kansas City Chiefs money line. So I'm not even going to touch the spread because it's I mean it's under key 3.5. So I'm like I might as well just go with my gut. So I'm gonna look. It should be a competitive, close game. But I know it sounds so like non-analytical, but it's like you have Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, okay? And, Kelsey has basically revived himself from the dead to become monster playoff Kelsey. I know that it's been kind of clunky on, the offensive side of the ball up until, Kelsey decided that he's alive again and rejuvenated. But I just think there's some glaring issues. I do think the 49ers are going to step up and obviously try to compensate for the run D that has been a little bit lacking. But when I see what the Packers did to the 49ers, what I saw the Lions do to the 49ers for 1/2 at least, or 2/3 of the game before they just, wet the bed, basically, makes me think, look, and I know it's nothing revolutionary I'm saying. I'm sure Shanahan's thinking the same thing. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to stack the box, and are we going to go heavy and try to stop Pacheco, early on? Then you have to deal with Kelsey. If we just, don't stack the box, then are we going to let Mahomes be on the field and just play ball control, which is what they've been doing all season? So I think it's going to be tough. And look, I'm not a Brock Purdy basher. I actually think he's been pretty good, but we've also seen him, have some brain farts and make some. And look, he's young. I think people forget he's not like some, seasoned Tom Brady. He's young and he's going to make mistakes. And we've seen some kind of not so good decision making in key moments. And look, man, I think the fate of God landed that pass to Ayuk.
Don't even get me started on the luck that the 49ers and Brock Purdy. I mean, they did have to come back, but
exactly.
How many dropped interceptions?
Yeah, exactly. And you're playing a very, I wouldn't say like, all-time defense, but it is a good defense on the Chiefs side, especially, in the secondary, So For all these reasons, I just think it comes down to, and I'm not saying anything that you haven't heard 8,000 times leading up to Super Bowl, but it's just like Patrick Mahomes is the X factor. And if you say you have pretty well balanced teams for the most part, but one is Brock Purdy, and the other side you have Patrick Mahomes. It's as basic as that. This isn't some analytical play. It's just these are both really good teams for different reasons. They have slight different strengths and weaknesses, but when you have Mahomes as the X factor, I just have to. I'm going to get plus money on the Chiefs. I'm just going with Chiefs money line.
Yeah, I'm with you. One thing I should have prefaced at the beginning. At this point in time, betting on the day of the Super Bowl, if you're looking for strictly like positive EV, there's almost nothing left. Everything has been crushed.
These are tight lines. Yeah,
exactly. You're not going to get a positive EV play on the Chiefs, on the 49ers, on the total. Maybe some even the quote unquote mainline player props is really hard for you to find positive EV at this point. You really have to look.
This is just about gut and preference at this point today. So
yeah, or not even that, but more so just like you're not going to see any extreme outliers. So like if you like a play, then I don't know. Yeah, I don't always want to tell people to bet on their gut, but you're really not going to find anything positive EV this late in the game. But I'm with you. I'm on the Chiefs. I mean, I bet against Mahomes, both against the Bills and the Ravens. And when I was watching those games, I thought never again. Even though the Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half against the Ravens, that was definitely concerning. The Ravens defense is worlds better than the 49ers defense. Like, I think we kind of overrate the 49ers defense because they have such splashy playmakers like Bosa and Hargrave, and they traded for Chase Young, even though Chase Young has been a disappointment for them.
Yeah.
Fred Warner's obviously awesome. And then Travarius Ward at cornerback is really good. But other than that, like their run defense is 15th in DVOA. They've been horrible both of the playoff games. Their defense has not been good. And the only reason why like they were able to come back was because like even against the Lions, if they had that fumble, which was more so just Jahmyr Gibbs kind of like there wasn't anything the 49ers defense did. It was the handoff just got fumbled between Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
The Lions had 2 drives that ended on drops. They had two drives that ended in field goal range in 49ers territory. Like it was like 6 of 8 drives made it to scoring position for the Lions. And the Packers was kind of the same thing. It was like the Jordan Love brain fart at the end of the game was basically the only time the 49ers defense stopped them. Yeah. And I feel like their defense is a little bit overrated. I saw Warren Sharp tweet out the stat that since week 10, the 49ers defense is bottom 5 in terms of drives that produced a punt, where the Chiefs defense since that same time was top 5. And then you also see stats about Brock Purdy against top 5 passing defenses, which he only played 2 of them this year. And there was 2 of his worst games of the year against the Browns and the Ravens, like where he just was awful both of those games.
Yeah.
And then you see stats about like the Chiefs offense, basically since they stopped using Kadarius Toney, has been really good. Like against the Bills, man, their first 6 drives ended with points or stopped on 4th down. And then they only punted once in that game. And the only time they didn't score, sorry, as my dogs go crazy, was when Mecole Hardman fumbled into the end zone. Like their offense has been really good in the playoffs. And then even against the Dolphins, they didn't score a ton of points. That was the game in which like the weather was like 30 below freezing, and they moved the ball consistently. They just couldn't score. So I kind of feel like on both sides of the ball, the Chiefs have the advantage. Not even talking about how it's Patrick Mahomes versus Brock Purdy. And Kyle Shanahan's a really good schemer. Like I think he's one of the best coaches Monday to Saturday. I think he's a coward in game. I think he's a total coward. He's very run heavy. He's not aggressive. He won't go for it on 4th downs, and he'll kick the field goal when he shouldn't. Like stuff like that will come back to bite you. I mean, that's kind of why they lost in the NFC Championship game against the Rams 2 years ago, because how conservative he was. And then in the Super Bowl before that against the Chiefs, it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So for all those reasons, I'm on the Chiefs money line. And was that I'm guessing that's a unit play for you just while I update the sheet?
Yeah, I'm just because that's just the main market one. I'm gonna go 2 units on that. So I went 2 units. I went pretty heavy on that one just because I'm like, I'm not gonna mess around with the straight money line play.
Yeah, I probably should have done that. I just put 1 unit. So all right, do you have anything on the total?
No, the total, I'm pretty torn on that, so I'm not even going to expound on that. It's just it's so hard to see the game script. Because of what you said, right? In my head, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, Shanahan is so conservative, like in these big moments. Like you almost wish you had like Dan Campbell leading the 49ers, basically, right? I mean, which would make it an exciting, aggressive team where you can't have Mahomes be on the field and them draining the clock like that. So my gut leans towards the under, but with all these superstars on the field, I mean, I know I just went on and on about the Chiefs defense, but it just depends on the play calling and the game script. So I don't know, man. I'm too hesitant to touch the total. Like literally I sat there mulling over it. I have no action on the total. I have no interest in it because
I don't have a single play on the total. If I had to give a prediction, I would probably lean towards the over, but I wouldn't put any money on that myself. I'm with you there.
I'm too torn on that one.
Yeah. So, all right. Player props could be touchdown, could be just a normal player prop, but like ones that you have, I would say half unit and above on. Just give me one. And like I said, we'll rattle them off.
Yeah. First one, I'll go with the chalky ones, get them out of the way. And then I'll talk about some of the cuter ones. I know it's chalk, but for all the reasons I said, we saw it happen with Aaron Jones. We saw it with Gibbs and Montgomery. I do think just that run defense is suspect. Will the 49ers overcompensate? Maybe, but I just think Pacheco I think this is too low. So I have Pacheco over 66.5 rushing yards, a full unit on that, minus 115 on ESPN bet right now. So
sorry, I muted myself because my dog's
no problem.
I don't know what's up with them. I have the same exact play. I took it over 66.5. I got it at plus 100 odds.
Oh,
so you said
better.
You said it's at minus 115
right now. Yeah. People, just so much money's coming in on all the mainstay players, so everything's getting juiced.
And that's a unit. I put a unit on that as well. That's basically both of us. Was that a unit play? Actually, I don't want to steal that.
Yeah, full unit. Yep, full unit.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, I have the same exact play, so you can keep going.
Okay, I know, and again, I actually, if you are smart, I'm not smart today. So this is the last game. So I'm smart as going out the door. I don't like over leveraging. Same thing. Pacheco, if you pick and choose, I like the yards better than this one. So if you're asking me if you're going to have one Pacheco play and you don't want to be overexposed, I would just go with the rushing yards because I could see him getting some chunk plays, but I do think he's going to get volume as well. So I'm also on Pacheco rushing attempts. Okay, so I did go over 15.5 rush attempts, minus 114 at FanDuel that I bet maybe 20 minutes ago. Okay, so Pacheco over 15.5 rush attempts. He had 24, 15, 24. Okay, so that's kind of where he was at. So yeah, he was under this in the Buffalo game, but I mean, totally crushed this in the other ones. I don't see them straying away from this, at least even if they're behind. I don't see them straying away from the run for at least a half of football, if not 2.5 quarters of it. If they're in the lead, then he should crush this if they're in the lead. So
I like that. I just looked it up. You can actually get it at minus 110 at FanDuel now, and every other book. Every other book. Like I looked at it, assuming OddsJam's correct, every other book is in the minus 130s. So I did not have that play, but I am, as we speak, I'm locking that in for a unit. Yeah, I like that. Well,
it's a CLVL, but I would take it at minus 110, even better.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, while we're on the Isaiah Pacheco train, I've been on this literally every single playoff game, anytime touchdown. My one preference is I would only take it if you use if you're in Colorado or New Jersey and use Sport Trade. It's the next closest book is minus 117, and that I wouldn't recommend. So if you're not in Colorado or New Jersey, I wouldn't recommend taking this one. Like I wouldn't touch it at minus 117, but I thought the value on him at minus 104 to score a touchdown is incredible. Like he scored in 6 or 7 straight games at this point. Yeah. They use him at the goal line. Like Andy Reid, well, he's always a threat to do something wonky. He also just likes to give the ball to Isaiah Pacheco at the goal line. Like he's been phenomenal. Yep. So yeah, while we're on the Pacheco train, I'll add him anytime touchdown. But yeah, like I said, I added a note to the sheet. I would only take that at at Sport Trade, and that's if you're in Colorado or New Jersey. And if you are in one of those states, I would definitely recommend downloading Sport Trade because they consistently have the lowest juice, and they don't even pay me anymore. So I'm not just saying that because they're like a sponsor. It's just the truth. They just have the best odds. So all right, what's next?
Okay, this one we're straying away a little bit from the chalky guys. So I know Noah Gray has been hit or miss for me. I think one of the playoff games I got his receiving yards because I caught it with like a 1 yard discount, and then another time I missed it by a damn yard and it was annoying. But this time I'm going Noah Gray over 1.5 receptions. So I'm staying away from his yards, but I'm going with receptions minus 114 at FanDuel. Here's the rationale why. If you look at the Kansas City offensive stats over the regular season, they use 2 tight end sets, maybe close to a third of the time. Okay. Since the playoffs, that has gone up quite a bit to about 45% of their snaps. So basically he's there and they're using 2 tight end sets quite a bit. He's hit this over the 1.5 receptions 2 out of the 3 playoff games. And you got to remember, these are bad weather games. Okay. That, I mean, that one against the Dolphins was frigid. The one in Buffalo wasn't great either. And look, if you are, put it this way, if you are a believer on the San Francisco side and you say, we're going to stuff Pacheco and we are going to get pressure to Mahomes, you should like this even more, because that's where you're going to get these little dump off passes as just kind of the release valve while Kelsey's doing his wiggle and trying to juke and stuff. I mean, you're just going to get an easy pass to Noah Gray. Noah Gray's dropped a few too, so I think he could have even exceeded this, way more in some of the playoff games. So over 1.5, I'm trying to find some of these low value things that the public hasn't totally crushed, like the Kelseys and the Pachecos. So Noah Gray over 1.5 receptions, minus 114. FanDuel.
Is that a 1 unit play?
I'm gonna go full unit, 1 unit on that one. I actually like that one quite a bit. Yeah. So
so while we're on ancillary receiving options for the Chiefs, I have MVS over 18.5 receiving yards. It's minus 110 at FanDuel. I did put a full unit on this one. It's kind of the same logic as you. We just came to a different player. Mm-hmm. It's someone else other than Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce is going to have to do something on the Chiefs. And basically, since the Chiefs stopped trying to make Kadarius Toney a thing, that's when their offense became significantly better. And MVS, like, he's going to have his opportunities. It's just whether he catches the ball or not. Like, he dropped that one against the Eagles. The last 2 weeks, he's been catching them. Like, he made the game clinching reception against the Ravens last week in a pretty good catch. Like, he had kind of to twist his body around and stuff. Technically, and I don't know how much this actually matters, but he's listed as a starting receiver on the Chiefs now at wide receiver 3. I don't believe that was the case heading up to this. Someone in my Discord said that. So if that's wrong, I'm not going to put him under the bus, but that's where I got that source from. And he's cashed us the past 2 weeks, like 62 yards against the Bills, 38 last week against the Ravens. Like, he's had a 30+ yard reception in each of the last 2 games. And while I do like, I have Travis Kelce receptions. I think that's a good play as well. But this one is like, it's a one play type thing. Like, they're good. Like I said, he's going to get his opportunities, and they're going to give so much coverage to Travis Kelce and to Rashee Rice. Someone else is going to have to beat him. And like, I understand, a great logic. I just kind of went with MVS instead.
Gotcha. Nice. All right.
What else you got? Do you have any more 1 unit ones? Because if not, I can rattle off a couple that I have.
Yeah, I got another one. I got Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rush attempts. I'm staying away from the yards themselves, just the attempts. Minus 112 on FanDuel, 1 unit on that. I like it a lot, actually. He's gone 6-6-2 in the playoffs. 2 was against the Dolphins. There was no need to force the issue. Okay. Yeah. I expect this should be a closer game than versus the Dolphins. So I'm going to say it's closer to the 6 and the 6 that he got. And of course, look, I am biased. I'm factoring in my opinion, I think the Chiefs are going to win. So I'm also going to factor in he's going to get a couple of kneel downs at the end, possibly to factor into the over 4.5. Okay. So for many reasons, I like it. I think even if you don't think the Chiefs are going to win, I don't think 4.5 is a lot if he's on the losing side and he's going to force the issue. So for various reasons, trends in the playoffs, doesn't matter which side of the ball you're on, he's going to either feel the pressure and force play hero ball, or he's going to get some kneel downs. I think that's a great line, over 4.5 rushing attempts. So that's why I like it.
I like it. I was on Mahomes rushing each of the last 2 weeks, and it burned me. Well, his rushing yards, not his attempts. So I just couldn't go back to any Mahomes rushing play again. All right. So while we're still not talking about touchdowns yet, I'll go through another one. It's a main line. I did have a unit on this one. Brandon Ayuk under 63.5 receiving yards. So I got it at -117 odds at Sport Trade. You can also get it at -120 at ESPN Bet, and I would still take it there. Like the 3 cents of juice isn't that big of a deal, so I would still take it at -120. FanDuel prices it at over under 60.5, so we are getting a pretty good. Like if you want to use FanDuel as I always struggle with player props because there's not like a sharp book specifically for player props, but FanDuel and DraftKings are two of the best because I'm guessing they use somehow their formula with their DFS stuff. Not that we take stuff on FanDuel all the time, but anyways, number one, I just haven't, like we talked about, have not been super impressed with Brock Purdy. That's not a hot take. He really hasn't been good until like he was good in the second half against the 49ers, and he was good for one drive against the Packers. Other than that, he's been very shaky. He hasn't dealt with pressure well, all that stuff. And the Chiefs defense has been one of the best all year, specifically against number one receivers. And my prediction is that like that's basically what Jarius Sneed. Like, who's he going to be covering? My guess is that they're going to put him on Brandon Ayuk because Debo isn't your typical like just drop back pass type of receiver, right? They use him on screens and on end arounds and even as a running back sometimes. So they're going to give their top cornerback going to go on Brandon Ayuk is my prediction. I don't actually know that. That's just a prediction. On the year, the Chiefs have the 5th best defense in the NFL, specifically at covering number one receivers, according to DVOA. And I got this stat per Connor Allen, who's at 4 for 4. He tweeted it out, so I just want to give him credit. And the Chiefs defense has been really good against number one receivers all year. Like Stephon Diggs, first game, 3 for 21. Second game, 4 for 24. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 28. DJ Moore, 3 for 41. Jamar Chase, 3 for 41. Tyreek Hill, 8 for 62, 5 for 62. Devontae Adams, 5 for 73. Amon-Ra, 6 for 71. Like all these receivers haven't done anything against the Chiefs. It's because of L'Jarius Sneed. So I like him to go under, like I said, 63.5 receiving yards. I did put a full unit on that one. -117 at Sport Trade or -120 at ESPN Bet.
Nice.
All right. What's next?
Okay. So I have a few. I know I've been very Chiefs heavy. So for those who like the 49er set, I got a couple here. I'm going to go lighter on these, though. These aren't going to be full units. So I got a half unit on 49ers to have a punt that goes over 57.5 yards. Okay.
Okay.
I
like it.
-120 on DraftKings. I don't like the odds actually, but I like it just because of the angle. So I think Wishnowsky, he got the farthest ones he had in the last 2 playoff games, 56 and 57. And this is Wager Talk, VSIN, all these places. I've been hearing the same thing. Like it's in a dome, so you have a climate controlled environment. He's already been able to punt it 56, 57. And if you believe in the Chiefs defense, he should get plenty of opportunities to get multiple punts this game to hopefully just boom one down. And he does have a big leg. So just basically asking for a yard more than he's been able to do, yard and a half more than he's been able to do in the last 2 games, adrenaline pumping. It's a guess, guys. I'm not trying to go deeper than that, but he's been half a yard to a yard away from this in outdoor environments. That's the part I think is interesting.
Sure.
So give me the dome. Give me that extra yard and a half from his big leg. I'll take that as a weird Super Bowl non-traditional player prop. Give me that. So
give me the dome. I love it.
Give me the dome. Give me the dome and the climate control.
Yeah. Someone asking about Ayuk under 4.5 receptions. I like that as a play. But it's -135 is the best price. I wouldn't touch it there personally. If like in a parlay piece, or if you're looking at it from like a fantasy or like a prize picks or underdog, then I think it's a good play. But straight up, I wouldn't touch it. All right. This is my last one. No, I have 2. Well, my last non-touchdown 1 unit play is Brock Purdy first completion under 10.5. This is one I texted you about. It's -125 at DraftKings. I put the full unit on it. I was on the unabated live stream last night, so I got this from Doug Kazarian.
Kazarian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is how you pronounce it. So I took it from him. I love this play. Absolutely love it. You see this all the time with like the Eagles did it with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles did it with Nick Foles. The only reason it didn't work with Patrick Mahomes last week is because his first 2 reads were taken away, and it was just I ended up becoming a scramble drill. But the logic here being the 49ers are just going to ease Brock Purdy into the game. They're going to give him an easy swing route, an easy just 5-yard button hook, something to just calm your nerves and give you a first completion. Especially with how shaky Brock Purdy's been in the playoffs. I think, like, again, the Eagles did it all the time with Nick Foles at quarterback. They would start off with this little dumpy screen pass or swing, something easy just to kind of get the quarterbacks, I don't know, their blood pumping and stuff like that. So, yeah, I love this one. So, yeah, like I said, I took it from Doug Kasarian, but I absolutely loved it. So I took it for myself, and I am adding it as part of my plays.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I'm glad you. I couldn't find it. I heard that Doug Kazarian, he comes on Chicago radio a lot as like a guest on ESPN 1000 Chicago, and he was talking about that. I'm like, I can't even find this damn prop. So I'm glad that you. I don't know if you just didn't want to drop the names of certain sports books or something or whatever, but
I'm glad on DraftKings,
yeah. So no, I took that too. So I'm riding that with you and hope that we get that right away and get a bet out of the way. So
yeah, got to see one go through the hoop at first.
Yeah, I know, man. Jeez. Here's another half unit one on the 49ers. Oh, so yeah, I don't want to go heavy on this, but Kyle Juszczyk over 2.5 receiving yards, basically meaning just give him that little lob, basically. -1, it's a little juiced, but -125 on ESPN bet right now.
Sorry, what's the play again?
Kyle Juszczyk over 2.5 receiving yards, 2.5.
Wow, 2.5.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, wow is it? Wow is the right term. It's weird. It's like at 4.5 at most places, but it looks like ESPN bet actually gives you some alt lines on that. And when he's used, I mean, it is usually like it's like a little loft, right? It's like a little lob that it makes me like every yard to me makes a difference with him. Yeah, I mean, people might say like 33 against Detroit. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. That was desperation mode.
It was one play, yeah,
and he had none against Green Bay, but pre-playoffs prior to the Green Bay one, he covered this 3 out of the last 5 prior to that. He had 0 against the Rams, 23, 5, 26, 0 against Seattle. So I think Shanahan, very conservative guy. I think he's going to come out with these heavy packages with big dudes. And to build Brock Purdy's confidence, I do think he's going to give one of these short passes here and there just to see somebody catch the ball, build that confidence. I think if anything, it'll either come in the first quarter as part of that confidence building script or some trick play, basically. So it's a dart throw, but it's one of those one pass dart throws. And you've seen me, my trend is I like finding one of these things where you can get it done in one pass. So
sure. I like it. All right. I have one more non-touchdown prop. This one is the squarest one of all, so I saved it for last, but it's Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions. Right now you can get it at -130 at Caesars. I actually got a worse price on it. I got -134. So it's actually a better price now. Just look at what Kelce's done in these 3 playoff games. 7 receptions against Miami, 5 against the Bills, but he had 2 touchdowns in that game. And then he had 11 last week against the Ravens. Last year, he had 6 receptions in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, 7 in the AFC Championship game against the Bengals, 14 in the divisional round against the Jaguars. In 17 playoff games with Mahomes, he's gone over this number in 11 of those 17, including 6 of his last 8. It's one of those things where, like, you can dedicate all the coverage you want to Travis Kelce, and he's just going to run a different route, or it's going to be an option route, and he's going to choose the right option, and then him and Mahomes, they just have a mind meld. Last week, Sam Laporta, 9 receptions, 97 yards. Against the 49ers the week before that, Tucker Kraft went over his receptions prop. Granted, I think it was like 1.5 or 2.5, but he still took the over. So yeah, we're allowed a couple square plays. The Kelce receptions is absolutely one of them. So that's what I went with.
Okay, I got 2 last plays. I saved 1 square one and 1 outlier one. So it's so square that I saved it for last, just like you, Kelce. Over 69.5 receiving yards. He's covered it in every playoff game so far. So if you like trends and numbers, the bookmakers are still offering you something he has hit 100% of the time in this playoffs. And it's so obvious. It makes me nervous, but Oh, it's the Super Bowl. So I am going to go over 69.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at ESPN Bet. So that's the square one. And here's a weird outlier one. Elijah Mitchell, over 1.5 rushing attempts. Ugh. Oh my God. It's such an outlier. Over 1.5 rushing attempts, minus 110 on ESPN Bet. I'm actually going to go full unit on that one. There's a chance maybe he doesn't even see the field. But in my mind, CMC is such a focal point. God, is he going to take a couple snaps off? Is he going to will he not take a couple snaps off? I mean, he might not, but oh my God.
It's the Super Bowl. Yeah.
It's weird. I searched around and the line for this is higher at some places, super juiced. So I don't know why right now ESPN bet it's minus 110. It's like a typical not super juiced line for over 1.5 rushing attempts. We just need to get Elijah Mitchell in for one series and just 2 handoffs. I don't know. He might not get it though. He might not. So I'm not going to lie. It's not it's an outlier for a reason. He may not even get any. So, but 2 rushing attempts? Ugh, I'll take it. I'm baited. I got baited, but I'll do it.
Sure. Yeah. Someone was asking about that. Kyle was asking about that in the comments. We also have one player prop that I like from Player Prop King, Butker over 1.5 field goals. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs offense has stalled out. Even when they've been good, they've stalled out in the red zone. I think they've cashed this. I guess they would have against the Bills and they would not have against the Ravens. And they definitely did against the Dolphins.
That's a good one. Again, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then John asking, do you look at public money? I don't look at it a ton. That's not as bettable as it used to be, like just fading the public. Sometimes it still is, but the public is kind of not as square as they used to be. And a lot of times it's not, I guess I should say, it's not as blindly bettable as it used to be. That's what I'll say. Like the public is all over the Chiefs. So we'll see if that ends up working out for the Super Bowl, but I don't look at it a ton anymore. All right. Those are all my 1 unit player props, non-anytime touchdowns. So I'm just going to rattle off my 3 anytime touchdowns real quick.
Yep.
One of them is, or 2 of them I'm putting the full unit on. One of them is a complete and ridiculous outlier. It's like, I put it in the sheet already. It's Deebo Samuel at plus 175 at BetMGM. Travis Kelce is at plus 105 is what it was at ESPN Bet. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Mecole Hardman is plus 2,000 at Caesars. I think right now it's 1,700 at FanDuel. So I'll go ahead and update that. But yeah, I mean, the Deebo and Travis Kelce one, Deebo hasn't scored yet in the playoffs, but he played like 8 snaps against the Packers before getting hurt. And then last week, it just wasn't his game. But like the last couple games of the regular season, Deebo was just on fire, right? He was crazy. Yep. He scored at least 1 touchdown in 6 of the last 8 regular season games. In those 8 games, he had a total of 10 touchdowns because he had a 3-game stretch where he scored a combined 7 touchdowns. He had 3 against the Eagles, and then he had 2 against the Seahawks and 2 against the Cardinals in back-to-back weeks. So like the fact that he hasn't scored in the playoffs doesn't really scare me off because he's just going to get used. Like he's just very creative. Like Kyle Shanahan, as much as I like to rag on him, he's pretty creative with his play calling. He'll get Deebo going on an end around, on a screen, and just like a straight handoff. And he's one of their best, like besides McCaffrey, obviously he's really shifty specifically in the red zone and is good at navigating the tight quarters and stuff. So I really love Deebo Samuel. The Kelce one, again, it's super square. He scored a touchdown in 13 of 17 playoff games with Mahomes. It's like, when he scored last Super Bowl, when they get in the red zone, it's who Travis Kelce's looking for. He scored in 2 of the 3 playoff games this year. He had 2 against the Bills. So like you're giving me plus money on Travis Kelce to score. Sure. I'll take it. So those are my 3 anytime touchdown plays. And then I guess 4, if you include the Isaiah Pacheco one, but again, that's only if you're in Colorado or New Jersey.
Yeah. I mean, to keep this simple, my single TD plays were Deebo Samuel is one of my favorites just because of his versatility. Deebo, Pacheco, Kelce. So I'm not even going to, so I'm literally on those 3 as my single 1 unit plays, pretty much all the same odds. So for simplicity, you could just say I'm on the 3 with you basically. Here are my 2 outlier ones, half a unit. So I'm going half unit on this. Usually I would go lower, but it's the Super Bowl. There's no more to be degenerate on is Noah Gray plus 900 for all the reasons I said above. If it's not Kelsey, they run 2 tight end sets quite a bit. Sometimes they even run 3 tight ends in there. So I think there's going to be some shots. So Noah Gray at a juicy plus 900. I'll take that. And then I don't know if I would bet it. You'd have to go see, because I bet this early in the week, because I already knew all the D-gens who are like me were going to bet it early. But Kelsey 2 TDs, I got it at plus 750. I think it's smashed already to like plus 600-ish or something, or maybe lower. But on FanDuel, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's better. But I'd be shocked if it was still plus 750 for Kelsey 2 TDs at FanDuel. But
let's see. It's 2 touchdowns for Kelsey is 600 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings 2+ touchdowns is 600. So
yeah, I don't know if I would go as high as I would now that some of the value has been lost. I mean, it's a long shot, so who cares, I guess. But half a unit on it's wasteful, but it's the Super Bowl, guys. So I'm going to be wasteful. So half a unit for Kelsey to get 2, because why not? I mean, if it's a Taylor Swift day and Kelsey and he's going to propose and do all this stuff, why not score 2 touchdowns on top of it?
So I will do you one further. One of my long shot degenerate plays that I put $10 on was Travis Kelce to score a touchdown in the first and second half. Or no, I put a quarter unit on this one to score a touchdown in the first and second half. It's plus 1,000 odds at DraftKings. So my logic here being like, I mean, let's go. I tried to find the EV on this as much as I could. 2 touchdowns is best offered at plus 600. So you're getting like plus 400 more odds just to do it in the first and second half.
Yeah,
I did look into this. So he scored, like I said, at least 1 touchdown in 13 of 17 games with Mahomes. He scored 2 touchdowns in 4 of those games. The problem is he's only had 1 of those 4 in which he scored in each of the first and second half. That was actually against the Bills. So that was this year. Every other game he scored 2 touchdowns. The other 3 were either all in the first or all in the second half. But like if you're getting me plus 400 cents of juice better for 1 TD in the first and second half, like for plus 1,000 odds, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then another crazy one. This is a $5 play, literally 0.05 units, is Travis Kelce to score the first and last touchdown. It's offered on FanDuel at plus 9,500 odds.
Oh,
and
God.
it hit with Jalen Hurts last year.
Oh, God.
Did it? Wow. Yeah, it did. I bet it, because that's how I remember. Jalen Hurts scored the first and the last touchdown last year in the Super Bowl. That's so for funny. $5 at plus 9,500 odds, sure, why not? That's one of my crazy long shots.
Okay. Since we're on crazy long shots, I texted you this one. This is probably my favorite one of like those prefabricated like Super Bowl special bets or whatever. So
sure.
I think the odds are a little worse. So I'm sorry that maybe you can't catch it at these odds, but it was under the FanDuel Super Bowl specials, and they have it. I got it at plus 700. So look somewhere in that range where it's CMC or McCaffrey. So McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle all to combine for 300 receiving yards, which is a lot. So I don't even know if Brock Purdy can throw that much against.
I was going to say, first things first, he's got to throw for 300 yards.
Yeah, so let's get that out of the way. But it's more the mentality of the odds for that were way better than him, just basically getting those yards. And in my opinion, if he's going to get those yards, I find it hard to believe the huge bulk of it will come from people outside of those receivers. So, and for me, again, my buy, you saw, I had a bunch of cute plays for the 49ers. I had like Mitch Wishnowsky punting distance. I had Mitchell, will he see the field, use check for a play. So I was so heavy on the Kansas City individual props that were my chalk plays that I'm like, well, I need something for fun on the 49ers side. So why not bundle the stars? Then I don't even have to worry about the distribution and the ratio of the receiving yards, and just all of you guys just get me some yards. So it was more, I want to be clear. Like I just saw kind of how all my individual props that were quote unquote chalky were slanted so much to the Chiefs that I needed something to root for the 49ers side. So
sure. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see. I have another kind of long shot one. I put $10 on this one. I feel like we do some sort of this every week. It's each team to have at least 1 touchdown and field goal in each half. So I put $10 on that. It's plus 2,600 odds.
Oh,
the field goals one I like the most, honestly, because I think like I could see these offenses stalling out. I could see like the Chiefs just because like the red zone offense hasn't been as good as normal years, and the 49ers because Shanahan's a coward and is going to kick a field goal when he shouldn't. It didn't hit in. I don't know how often I know it didn't hit in the Chiefs-Ravens game. I think it did hit in the Chiefs-Bills game, and it definitely didn't in the Chiefs-Dolphins, but that game was wonky. And then the 49ers had like such a weird, like their playoffs have been so weird with Brock Purdy having every single interception dropped. So I didn't look into that one. But again, like for plus 2,600 for each team just to have one touchdown and field goal in each half. I know that it's never as simple as it sounds, but again, for $10, I thought like 10 to win 260.
Yeah,
I thought that was there.
Why not? I'll ride with you on that. Usually I'm the one who's on stuff like that.
I know.
I'll ride with you on that. So, all right. Okay. All right. Well, I guess my question for the audience, for people who are still here, does anyone have any inside info on the national anthem length or the Gatorade colors? Please, guys, someone must know someone who
I've seen blue
to be at the dress rehearsal who clocked it. And it's funny, man. You listen to these guys on like Wager Talk and all these like Vegas shows and all these like quote unquote like hardcore cappers, like legends that they're like, oh, I used to have a guy who'd clock it for me. Well, I wish I did too. That's pretty nice. So that's why I understand a lot of these books don't even offer that stuff. You have to go on like Fliff and Bovada and like these non-mainstream, legal, whatever sanctioned books that are in the States and stuff. So, but it looks like it opened up at like 86.5 seconds, but it's already been juiced up to like 90.5 or 89.5 at some places. I guess the rationale is Reba. They looked at back at her old tapes and at some Oklahoma rodeo, and like I guess her previous big like sporting event, football game, or whatever. So she like blasted through one at like 66 seconds, and then she blasted through one at like 81 seconds and like 77 seconds. And I watched the YouTube clips, and yeah, there was like no flair to it. She's just like, she just kind of did like she just sang it fine, but she just kind of like didn't add any of those extra little pieces of flair to extend a portion or something. So a lot of people are on the under, but I'm just like, man, I don't really know, because this is stupid that I'm analyzing people's singing habits, but I'm like, she keeps going on and on about, I'm like, I'm gonna use this opportunity to bring back patriotism to America. And I'm like, to turn me into a patriot, you got to give me more than 90 seconds. You can't blow through this. You got to give me some fancy Mariah Carey type of, extend these verses kind of deal. So
sure,
I'm leaning towards the over. But that would just be a blind guess. But does anyone have any insight? Anyone at all? Any inside info of someone that knows someone that knows someone that will there be a what?
You got to get better odds than plus 250.
You got to give me way better odds than plus 250. My God. Not even going to read that out loud, because we're going to get like on Homeland Security's radar if we say the words out
loud. I don't have anything on the coin toss for the Gatorade. I guess coin tosses too. I meant to say national anthem. I was told John Slop said blue for the Gatorade, so that's what I'm going with. Gatorade color blue. Okay. I only have one more long shot prop, another $5 play. This came to me in a dream last night, so if it doesn't hit, you can't be mad at me. Exact score.
Exact score? Wow.
Chiefs 27, 49ers 20.
20? Okay.
Plus 9,500 odds at FanDuel. That's what I have. One of my odds here is incorrect. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the exact score, 27-20. It hits the basically at the total. The total's 47.5 or 47.5. It basically hits at the total. I could just see this being a game. Teams kick a lot of field goals, not necessarily as many touchdowns. So give me 27-20. It came to me in a dream, and you can't turn down a dream bet.
Wow, 27-20. Well, look at Brian McMurray. Will Reba show?
I actually have seen this. Dude, this was the first 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh.
There was a play, because there was a bet. It was the Shakira, or was it was Shakira and Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
The halftime performer. And there was a bet. will they show butt cleavage? And I don't know what that means.
Wow.
I bet the over, and
like
I bet the yes.
Booty cheeks hanging out, basically.
I guess.
Like,
I
yeah,
guess.
okay.
All I know is I bet yes, and they cashed it out. So,
oh wow, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
Look at these offshore books being fancy.
I know they offer some crazy stuff. 27-21 Niners plus
nice.
10,
Good
plus
luck,
10,000.
man. I hope
you're close with the score. You're wrong with the team. All right. I think that's everything I had. The last thing I'll say is I did a video with like my favorite Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift novelty props.
Oh God.
So yeah, I'm not going to put those as like, I'm not tracking them as official plays. The ones that I actually did like, I already said on the stream, but if you want like some more kind of ridiculous ones, I'll check out that video. But other than that, that's this, the spreadsheet's updated. So let's see, between the two of us, even though we have a couple,
oh man, I just hope I'm not dead by the end of this. Last year, I think I bet way too much. I actually did a better job this, even though it sounds like a lot. I think I put maybe 5 times more than what we just went through last year, and I regretted it. I'm like, holy cow! It's like all these things can't hit. Like, you know what I mean? And I reined myself in this year. So
last year was the most miserable watching experience of my life because the Eagles lost. Sure. Every single play I had hit. It was like
really? Wow.
I took Jalen Hurts to score the first and the last touchdown. That hit. I took Jalen Hurts to 3+ touchdowns. That hit. I had like AJ Brown, Travis Kelce, and Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown combined. Like last year was the most chalkiest Super Bowl. Like look at, aside from Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore who scored, look at the anytime touchdowns. It was AJ Brown, it was Jalen Hurts, it was Travis Kelce.
True.
Like every big receiver on the Eagles, Goddard, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown went over their yards and I think receptions. It was like the chalkiest Super Bowl in the world. So I had a great day from a betting perspective. It was the worst day of my life from a personal perspective because the Eagles lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, I think last year where I got screwed was in like the peak hysteria of like SGPs and stuff. And like, I think, dude, I'm on over 2.5 receiving yards, but 4.5. I think anything under 5 yards, like hopefully one pass gets us, dude. So I'm with you. Earlier in the show, I said over 2.5 receiving yards on ESPN Bet. So I think I'm not joking. I think I had like maybe over $1,000 in SGPs, and I got totally destroyed because I had so much overlap, and you know I was just an idiot. This year, I'm proud of myself. I think I have like $200 of SGP bets, but they're all like bonus bets too. So I'm like, I'm only going to bet whatever we decide here. I'm just gonna be done with it. So I'm not going to overexpose myself. I learned a hard lesson last year to not go crazy with those long shot SGPs where you're hoping to get like $10 to turn into $5,000. And then I'm like, oh, I bet 50 of them. Whoops. And you know,
yeah. I don't have any SGPs. I don't think, not that I remember at least. But I mean, you have enough long shots that you basically, I mean, sorry, between the two of us, even though we do have some repeats, 29 total plays, total units risked 23.3. So obviously between the two of us, I mean, 23 units risked between the two of us. That's like what, 12, basically 12 each. That's not crazy.
It's not the worst. Yeah. We didn't go overboard. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Brian, thank you for the kind words. You've been one of the most frequent commenters. We appreciate tuning in, and everybody else that tuned into our streams. It's super fun to do this stuff every Sunday morning. Hopefully we did make some people some money along the way, but the most important thing were the friendships we made along the way, not the money we made along the way. So yeah, we'll have to figure out what streams you want to do, non-football. If you want to like do some NBA stuff, we'll have to figure that out between the two of us. But regardless, everybody who's tuned in, we appreciate you. It's my first year being solo, so it's been fun. And then let's all make some money on the Super Bowl.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.